From a backbencher to greatest scientist. In one winter afternoon in a village, as the sun goes down, dank darkness creeps in. In such darkness, a boy was trying to fly a kite, which was made of torn clothes and sticks, and had a long tail. Besides, there was a tiny lamp hanging with the tail. In one winter afternoon in a village, as the sun goes down, dank darkness creeps in. In such darkness, a boy was trying to fly a kite which was made of torn clothes and sticks, and had a long tail. Besides, there was a tiny lamp hanging with the tail. The boy was hoping when the kite would fly in the sky, everybody would assume it as a star. Some might even think it as the sign of the apocalypse coming close. In such a thought merely brought a mischievous smile on his face. However, how could such a kite fly in the sky? Due to the weight of the lamp, it was coming downwards. Every time he pulled the strings, the kite dove back the ground. At last, he had to give up. Somehow, some people came to know about this incident. Whenever people heard about it, they ridiculed the boy, labeling him as a stupid and exclaimed, "It served him right. How could he want to make fool of us? He should rather focus on his own studies following his teacher's advice." After he grew up, the boy wrote all such memories in his autobiography. He was the last boy in grade 2 at a school in Skillington village in Britain. Teachers already identified him as unintelligent and mindless. Classmates used to make fun of him. However, after growing up, this boy astonished all the prominent scientists around the globe with his extraordinary inventions. They started considering him as a maestro. He was made a member of British Parliament. The king awarded him with knighthood and was given the title Sir. The Royal Society, which was the institution of the experts, elected him as the president. His name was Isaac Newton. Newton was born on 25 December 1642. His father, who was a farmer, died before he was born. He studied in the village school in his childhood, but instead of studying, he was more interested in the sundial, water clock, and other tools and gadgets. When he was 16 years of age, a terrible storm hit Britain. How strong and wild the wind was! Not many such violent storms hit in the history of Britain. At that time, Newton was very much into measuring the wind force. When the storm was at its peak, he came out of the house. He jumped following the direction of the wind and marked the spot. Then he jumped against the wind and marked the spot. The neighborhood noticed his madness through the windows of their houses. All his relatives thought that he would become a farmer like his father. However, he developed a strong interest in reading scientific books and doing strange experiments. Once he was sent to the market to sell sheep, a few eggs, and some other things. Instead, he sent another person to see things on his behalf, and he sat down behind a bush to be totally engrossed by a math book. He was later found after a frenzied search, and everyone in the family got furious. What could be done with such an irresponsible young man? They all thought. One of his uncles rescued him from such unpleasant situation. He suggested send him to a college. There he can do as much maths as he wishes. As a result, Newton was sent to a Cambridge. Newton really excelled in maths in Cambridge. In his first year of his college, he invented calculus, an entirely new concept in maths. He wrote a full paper on it, kept all the records, but he did not publish it. During his first year of college, he also invented why disk-like objects around the moon emit light. According to him, this is created because of the light reflection on water molecules in the atmosphere. At the age of 23, he became a professor of mathematics. The next year, Britain was affected by the plague. Schools and colleges were shut down. Newton went back to his village and concentrated on research. He kept trying to find solutions for whatever problems appeared in his mind through mathematics. That was the time in village when Newton formulated the foundation of his remarkable inventions before he even turned 25. How do the planets revolve around the sun? To solve this question, he invented the theory of gravity. It is commonly believed that Newton invented it by seeing an apple falling from a tree. He thought if an apple falls down from the tree, How does the moon float in the atmosphere rather than falling on the earth? Then he thought that the earth must attract the moon. However, as the moon revolves around the earth, that is why the attraction between them becomes neutral. Newton calculated the exact revolving pace of the moon, which would neutralize the earth's gravity. And what a wonder it was! His calculation matched exactly with the astronomer's calculation of the revolving pace of the moon. To everyone's amazement, Newton's theory of gravity could be used to calculate all the movements of other planets. He always had a strong attraction towards light. What is light made of? Lamplight, sunlight, and starlights? He was fully engrossed into the experiments with light. Newton was aware of the telescope that Galileo built. Newton measured the movement of light inside the telescope. Then he built a new type of telescope whose diameter was just 1 inch and the length was mere 2 inches. However, he could observe long-distance elements 40 times larger with this new telescope. With this telescope, he discovered the satellites of Jupiter. Then Newton, with the help of a prism, showed that the light contains the combination of 7 colors, rainbow. Newton was a simple person. At that time, scientists used to publish immediately after the invention. However, Newton never prioritized that. He was always so occupied in inventing something new that he never paid much attention in publishing. There are so many stories around how engrossed Newton used to become in his research, and what an absent-minded person he was. Once he invited one of his friends to dinner. Newton was not home when his friend arrived. The friend found a roasted chicken on the table. It was covered. His friend was waiting for almost 2 hours. Without further delay, his friend ate the chicken. Only the bones were left on the plate. After returning home, Newton removed the cover and said, "I thought I didn't take my dinner, but now I realized that I had taken it earlier." The two friends then started a long conversation on science. Do you want to know what Newton said about himself? "I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself in now and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me.